After 20 years of building together through dust, deadlines, and damn good ideas, Pace and Adam invite you to join them for honest conversations about the home building world. Welcome to Build Connected, where experience meets insight, powered by Diamond Home Restoration.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Build Connected. I'm Adam,
And I'm Pace.
and we're gonna get after it here. Pace, what's up, man? How was your weekend?
Not bad. It's interesting. This is the first time it's raining here pretty hard today. So we took a rain day. We are actually not working. We pulled the guys because we were doing a couple of outside related things, and it was just coming down too hard to rain. And I can't remember the last time we did that.
Whew, it's an office day today. I'm
Yep.
feeling a little congested, so it's good that I'm at home, not spreading germs. I don't know.
Yeah, you get sick. What? You get sick once a month? Is that about right?
You're the sick guy. You're sick all the time. I get sick once a year, if that. This is not
Negative.
like a full sickness. I think it's because I got a flu shot or no COVID shot. I don't know what I got. I just said, just give it to me. Whatever you
Ebola?
recommend. What?
You got the Ebola?
Yeah, the Ebola shot. That's a winner. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Enough funny business. Let's talk podcast stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. We got a product that we want to talk about today. This relates to, I think, all of us that have a house and have appliances. Specifically, you've got a washing machine, you've got a dishwasher. All of these things are prone to leaking, right? Now, if you've got a washing machine on a second floor and that sucker leaks, so you pop a hose, you're screwed. You got water coming in everywhere, man. You're gonna cause a lot of damage. So the point that I'm getting at is drain pans. And when we install washing machines and dishwashers, we like to put a drain pan underneath those units, and that drain pan connects to a drain and captures any water that may have caused damage or not. So, we've been doing this for a long time, and back in the day, we were kind of making, we call them custom drain pans to, we'd have our metal company, basically take some sheet metal and bend it into four corners and pop a drain in it. And then there's companies that came out with these kind of prefab plastic drain pans you can put under these units. But, now there are companies that make these really sleek, beautiful drain pans. You can get them, stainless steel. You can get them in matte black. You can get them in white. And the way these things look, they basically have a taper on the front of these pans, so that you can slide the unit up onto the pan without kind of crushing that lip, right? Because there's no lip on the front. And actually on the front is like a linear drain. And specifically, there's a company called Killarney Metals. It's Killarney. And if you go on their website, they have all of these kind of pans that I'm talking about, and any kind of flavor you want. So it's super important. This isn't something you should overlook if you're doing new construction, or if you're doing a remodel, or even if it's like, hey, your dishwasher kind of crapped out on you, your washing machine crapped out on you, it's time to replace it. Now's a good time to put a pan in. It costs some money, right? Because you got to plumb a line in, down and connect to something, but man, it's really going to save you in the end if you have an issue. And we've seen it too many times where there's been damage from hoses popping or dishwashers failing,
It's so interesting to me. Like, I remember the start of our career. I remember never even considering this idea. Like growing up, I've never had this in a house that I've lived in, but I think every house that I've lived in has had a pan for the water heater, right? There's more water stored in your water heater. So I think maybe you could say it makes more sense that a pan would be underneath your water heater. But I mean, like you said, you break a hose and you're screwed. It's shocking to me that I never saw this before. I don't know, fill in the blank. What, 15 years ago?
Yeah, probably. How about that?
Something like that. We did our first one. And, the pans with the water heater is code, right? Why, to be honest, I'm not even sure if it's code now. for like a washer or dishwasher. We do it, but I'm not sure that it's required. And it just, the investment you get for the pan has such a potential for savings if there's a catastrophe, right? It just makes, this is one of those things that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I mean, the water heater, right? You got a tank full of water, and we know these things fail after 10, 15 years, right? And if you want to really level up and you can put your water heater in a closet, you can make that closet floor like a shower pan. Just you can tile the floor. You can, I mean, you can spend, it gets expensive when you do that, but we've done that before where we'll just take the floor of a closet and just turn it into a shower floor, and you put the water heater in there, and if anything happens, just drains like a shower.
I
So
think this
anyway,
will be the third time. I think I'm on 21 years on my water heater. Is it time to change it?
do you have a pan?
It's in my garage. So,
Okay. All right. I'm
actually,
not,
I do have a pan, but it is in the garage. So,
all right. You get a pass.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good product talk. Pace, you were a little hot under the collar this morning. This is a fresh topic, fresh for you today. So let's try and keep the steam coming out of the ears to a minimum. But let us know what's on your mind.
Yeah, very much so. I was so angry this morning. The thought is fresh, and I think I know how I'm gonna address it, but let me just paint a picture of two ends of a spectrum. One is the idea of a man in a van, right? It's a phrase that we use for a one or a two-man operation. Think about it like just a plumber or a handyman, right? Who might do one job at a time, cruises around in his van. He's probably the cheapest guy you're going to find, but he's also got maybe the most limited resources and bandwidth and experience. Maybe sometimes, not all the time. But
Sometimes
that
the best guy, sometimes the best guy you find. You never know.
there's a couple of man of the van guys that we use, and we love them. But that's on one end of the spectrum. And on the other end is that company that is just so top heavy. There are so many layers and so many people. It's what maybe used to be a great contractor that has scaled up to just a really large organization and has become bloated and inefficient and hard to get anything done, right? I think those are the two ends of a spectrum. And I'm going to talk about the bloated end here in a second. But I think the idea is that somewhere in the middle of that is probably a sweet spot, somewhere where you can comfortably, ensure the quality of the work you're doing. You can communicate efficiently, be available, all of those things. But man, this morning, a company that we've been working with, and this is not the first time this has happened, so many layers, so many dropped pieces of information, miscommunication that has led to delays and problems on the job site. It frustrates me to no end. For me, the classic example, I'm not going to call them out by name, but this is a national company now. It's a closet company, and they're based in California. Wink, wink. I remember 25 years ago, when they were a young company. We loved them. We worked with them all the time. At some point, they got so big that we just could not trust the outcome of our projects with them, and we've moved away from them. But they're a classic example of a company scaling up and um, losing the ability to kind of guarantee the quality and the experience of working with them. So, I mean, that's at the heart of my frustration today. Just this inefficiencies that seem to happen most of the time when a company just gets too big.
Well, let's get into the heart of it, right? Like, let's give an example. I mean, for instance, there's a project, um, there's a big plan in place for this project, and we end up meeting with a team of people, right?
A team of
And
people. That's right. So
and so
maybe,
that's
maybe
let's why don't you take it from there?
Well, so maybe a half a dozen people months ago, many, many months, almost a year ago, right? Standing in a room, lots of suits and just lots of ideas bouncing around. And like you and I leaving that meeting and just red flags everywhere. Like, is anybody in this that was in that room going to be involved in construction at all? Right? It feels like everybody is just working a desk somewhere. And so, like, we were nervous about what the outcome would be. And so all this time has gone by, all these iterations of plans. We've been very tangential. We've done some kind of base construction work. And now their team is in and they are doing work, and there are multiple people. They keep handing off project management. I keep getting phone calls about we need this, we need that. All things I laid out many, many months ago. And it's so frustrating. And the
Well,
thing is, only one person, like besides my anger, my frustration, my time, the homeowner suffers, right? They are paying for every lost hour. The homeowner is paying. And to me, it's horrible.
yeah, I mean, I think what kind of lit the fuse today for you, right, is you're man this project that we're talking about, you're kind of managing this side of things. But when it started off with that team of people, look, we work with teams of people all the time, but this is a scenario where you're dealing with people that aren't even involved in the project. It's just a lot of ideas floating around, like you said. And so you could see the writing on the wall. And I think that you had been clear about wanting to talk to a very specific project manager that was going to be on site, that you could get all the details in place and have clear ideas, because it's just easier when you have one point of contact. And that's what happened. You had that one point of contact. You had everything squared away. You had your list of requirements that they needed from us to do, and you had completed them. And this company is not local, right? They fly people in to deal with projects like the one that we're doing, and it's I'm going to say it's kind of a one-off project. It's very, very custom. Hence, a team from out of state coming in. But you had been in contact with this project manager, and then like I said, after you completed everything, the team came in to do their work, and then you get a call this morning from somebody different that's on site, and they're asking you questions for things that you had already discussed with that project manager. And then when you asked to speak with the project manager, that person was no longer on site anymore. The company is just so big and there's so many people that you were constantly being directed to other people throughout the project, even though you had already done the list of things that were required, right? I mean, man, uh, thanks for taking on this management role with this job, because yeah, I would be boiling as well.
Yeah, I mean, so the heart of it is about efficiency, right? And I hate being right in a situation like this because, like I said, there is somebody that suffers financially for it. Um, but there's another interesting side thing that's happening here. You like saying that I'm old, right? I'm old and curmudgeony, right? But there is something really good that goes along with that, and that's that I'm not scared anymore, right? I used to be scared, like there 20 years ago, if I would have been in that early meeting, I'd be afraid to raise my hand. Oh, I'm just the contractor. I'm not one of the suits that's being flown in from out of town. That's not me anymore. I know what I know, right? And I know what I'm looking at. And I don't hesitate to say to the homeowner, like, you should be careful because of XYZ, right? And it's unfortunate because there's lots of guys who are making their way up, and it takes time to get to that confidence that you trust your instincts. You can say no, you can say, let's put on the brakes here. Um, I don't know. And it just takes time to get that. And some people never get that. But like I'm angry, right? And I'm not afraid to say, this is wrong. You guys are
Look,
dropping the ball.
I think everybody can relate to what you're feeling, right? I mean, the analogy is, you make a phone call because you've ordered a piece of furniture that's damaged, and you call somebody, they answer, and they're like, they send you another department, and then they send you to another department, and then they send you another department, and you're on the phone for 2 hours, and you've finally got to somebody, and then it ends up going nowhere. I mean, that's kind of what's happening.
Well, interestingly, I think that's a form of customer service that is meant to drive you crazy and give up. And that way they don't have to pay for repairs or service or whatever. So I think that's a strategy that's effective. But you're right. It's the same exact sort of loop and frustration. Yeah,
Well, I feel like you got something off your chest. Maybe you're a little bit more relaxed now. You
so much better.
okay? Well, so moral of the story is, the man in the van, the huge company. There's a sweet spot, right? Not too big, Well, some of these, man, like we said, the abandoned van can be outstanding, but somewhere in the middle.
And the other is true too. There are some giant companies that are awesome, right? I
True.
can think of a couple of big California contractors that I really, really respect. One in particular, again, not going to name names, but it's not a if they're giant, they're bad. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a tendency to lose track once you scale up.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, I guess, when you scale up, right? Trying to
Sometimes, yeah,
trying to find the right person to talk with.
yep.
Okay. All right, good. Let's move on to our final segment. Something interesting on a project. And we are on a job now where we're kind of getting in, we're entering the sheetrock phase, and the exterior of the house is kind of all buttoned up, and now it's kind of time to talk about paint colors and sheetrock finishes and all, getting into the fun stuff, which the clients love, and as do we. You can really see things come together. So, paint colors. Paint colors is the topic, and I think that homeowners, when they think about painting let's just use the exterior of the house as an example, because that's where our focus is right now. You might think, "Hey, let's paint this house white." And you don't really think too much more than that. But man, it is a deep, deep, dark hole of selections to make. So, okay, I want the house white. Okay, there's 500 whites. Which one do you go with? Right? So, I mean, the moral of the story is, you get your paint deck, maybe you pick 2, 3, 4 kind of colors that you like, and the objective is to get that on the exterior of your house, so that the homeowner can see it. Or if you're the homeowner and you're painting it yourself, put those samples up, make them nice and big, and don't just put them in one spot. You want to hit them in a spot where there's some shade, in a spot where the sun hits the house, maybe two locations. We generally like to do two locations for different paths of sunlight, but so that's kind of where it begins. You've got your colors up, and you can kind of move from there. And I don't know, anything you want to add to that pace?
Let's just paint the house white. Easy.
Easy, easy money, easy money.
Like the number of times that's been said out loud, it just really this one I love so much. It makes me smile so much. Like, how did this happen? Like, how did there become so many whites?
Okay, so pace, I've picked my white. Now what? I don't want it too shiny. What do I do now?
Yeah, I mean, like the what is it? Shade? Like the shade of
Sheen,
white
the
is
sheen. What sheen are you
well,
gonna
no,
go
no,
with?
let's start with the shade.
Shade.
So
Oh, we're going with
the
shades.
first thing we started was which white, right? And then once you nail that, it's like, yeah, what's the sheen? What's the finish of the white? So do you want to go with your flat? Do you want to go with a semi-gloss, a gloss, an eggshell? Right. So you get to that first selection of the color white that you want, and then you've got to get your sheen. And then you're ready to go.
It's a process, I guess is what we're saying, right? Get ready to jump in and make yourself crazy. And like the sheens that's probably a whole nother topic of discussion. And, that falls more in maybe the designer category. But, the typical thing we do on an exterior of the house is like a low luster paint, exterior paint, which is kind of in the eggshelly satin kind of world, very low sheen. The flat and matte colors, they tend to show every kind of mark. So try to stay away from that on the exterior. But people want what they want, and we abide, and we give our input as much as we can to give them guidance. And if there's a designer in the mix, they usually are able to make a very direct decision and make things a little easier. But yeah, get ready
Here's a,
to
here's a question for you.
go.
If
What do you got?
we can get through that process and select a white, and the interior designer doesn't have a good one, do we have a backup color specialist that we often call in?
We do. We do have a color specialist. Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Pace. And it's actually good to know, right? If you haven't done a lot of painting on the inside or the outside of your house, you can go into some of these local paint stores, and usually they have a color specialist on hand, and they will help you with that selection process. And sometimes they'll give you you can order kind of paint cards. They'll actually paint like an 11 by 9 by what 11 piece of paper. Whoa.
A lot of math going on up in that head.
Wow. I'm stuffed up. It's affecting my brain. But I'll be honest, those don't really do the trick for us or our clients. The best way is really to just get a small little thing of paint, and those don't come in the sheen that you're really going to want. You're really just using it for color. Take those and paint some big samples in a couple of different places. So I don't know. That's I guess that's it for a little bit of paint talk. It's like
Let me
watching
just
paint
give
dry
you
listening to us.
my inside tip is right from the get-go, and I love doing this, just claim you're colorblind, and that removes you from the entire conversation.
I like it. I like it. All right. Well, I guess that wraps up. What episode was that? 41 or 42?
42,
42. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I am Adam.
and I'm Pace.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us on Build Connected. For more stories, insights, and ideas, visit diamondhomerestoration.com or find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. We hope you will too.